Hello, everybody. I want to get you up to speed with what's going on. We have a little bit of an issue because we've reached our webinar capacity, but we have got a plan for everybody. So what we've done is created a YouTube overflow channel. So if you have friends and family who are wanting to join, we are going to put the link to the YouTube channel in the chat and you can send it out. So everyone should be receiving a link. And please know that on YouTube, you can comment, we'll be able to connect with you. So we really look forward to seeing you there, and we're sorry for the technical difficulty. And as always, we really, really appreciate your patience. We will see you soon. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight. We are so happy that you're joining us. And I know that some of you are watching via Zoom, so welcome. And I also know that some of you are joining us through YouTube, so welcome. My name is Debbie Shear, and I'm going to be your host and your partner in fundraising tonight. And I want to say thank you for your patience. We had a couple of glitches, but we're back in action and we're all excited to be here. And while we know there's so many reasons to give to the YWCA, I think it's fair to say that another reason might be so they can upgrade their Zoom account. But I'm just saying, maybe you would think about that. So welcome to the 2021 YWCA Gala. Lights, camera, take action. I know that this looks a little different than when I saw you all last year at the JCC in Boulder, right? We had that Roaring 20s theme, and then we realized that the 20s were very, very angry, kind of like murder hornet angry. But we are so grateful for you joining us this evening to support the YWCA and its incredible mission of eliminating racism and empowering women. While we can't actually see you tonight, we'd love for you to share a photo of you watching from home and share on socials, all the socials, using hashtag YWC Gala at Home. Tonight, we want to put women and people of color in the spotlight. We have a great program planned during the next hour, highlighting a couple of extraordinary women in our community as we honor and celebrate the recipient of the 2021 Janet Beardsley Award of Excellence, Sue Fagan, and the Community Impact Maker Award winner, Kathleen Buchholz. We'll also learn more about the lives being directly impacted by the work of the YWCA, and each of you will be able to make a direct impact by giving during the paddle raise. It's amazing to hear everything the YWCA was able to accomplish this past year despite unforeseen challenges. You can find tonight's agenda at the website displayed below in the printed program that you all received in the mail or along your delicious spread from Cured. It's so important for us to support our local restaurants right now, and we so appreciate partnering with such a wonderful company as Cured. I hope you are all enjoying it. Before we get started, I would like to thank the sponsors for this event, particularly our silver screen sponsors, Lily Sweets and Twisted Foundation, and our presenting gold statue sponsor, Zayo Group. You can find the full list of tonight's sponsors in the printed program, including our generous in-kind sponsors that help make tonight possible. Now, I want to make sure everyone is good to go, technically speaking. You should have received a text from 56651 with a personal bidding link. Hopefully you already clicked on it and purchased your entries into our drawing for a $750 gift certificate to Walters and Hogsett Jewelers in Boulder. If you have not purchased your entries yet, be sure to do so before the end of the paddle raise. Simply click the link and look for package number 200. You may enter as many times as you would like. If you need any technical help, call or text Michelle at Boulder Events, 678-643-5167, and she will be sure to help you. Now, if you're not sure if you're registered yet, text YWCA Boulder to 56651, and it'll be sent to you. The drawing will be at the very end of the program tonight, and you do need to be present to win, so stick around. Now, when we get to the paddle raiser portion of the program, it is going to look different than it did last year. You won't be able to just raise your paddle in the air. Instead, you're going to use the same bidding link and simply look for the paddle raiser item and choose the level of giving that feels right for you. There are multiple ways to give tonight, but all pledges will go through that personal fundraising link that was sent to you. If you want to pay by check or through a donor-advised fund distribution instead of with a credit card, you can still do that through the link. We just want to make sure all pledges are counted tonight towards the total because we have an amazing opportunity. We have the ability to unlock a generous matching gift of $40,000 tonight from an anonymous donor who we know is watching. So thank you. It's going to take all of us to do it, but I know we can. And now, I would like to introduce you to the CEO of the YWCA, Debbie Pope. She has been leading the organization for 3 years. This year has presented many challenges, but with the engagement of a powerful board of directors and dedicated staff, Debbie has led the organization to new heights in community engagement, direct service impact, and meeting the ever-evolving needs of the community. I am so pleased to welcome Debbie to the virtual podium as we hear her share with us the powerful and unstoppable work of the YWCA.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction. We have two Debbies here tonight, Debbie Shearer and myself, Debbie Pope. But before we begin, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the land and the history of Boulder County and the Hanoai people who were forced off their land and whose descendants still live here today. And I would also like us all to take a brief moment of silence to remember and acknowledge all the individuals we've lost this year to COVID and racial injustice. Well, thank you all for being a part of this special night for the YWCA and the women, girls, and family we serve here in Boulder County. It has been a challenging not to compare this celebration tonight with last year's Roaring Twenties themed evening. For many of us, it was the last in-person party before the very fast disruption of the pandemic, just 6 days after the event. And I'll be honest, I really miss seeing you all in person. Every year, I'm so inspired to see you all and excited to share the impact of your generous support. I look forward to always sharing a table with Todd and Allison Bardo. This is going on our 4-year tradition, or seeing Sue Fagan's fun, always themed outfits, or giving Josie Heath a big hug. Though I remember last year, we touched elbows in a precursor to what we couldn't even imagine would be the rest of the year. So here we are tonight. It was really fun to connect over 2 virtual tables tonight. One I had with some of our wonderful donors in the Social Venture Partner Group, and another table hosted by my husband, Chris, 2 of my children who never get to attend, my dad, Richard, and stepmother, Liz, and my sister, Becky, who are all joining us from Wisconsin. So we get to share this important work with friends and family across the world. While we may not have the fun decorations, great music, eventful dance floor, and casino tables, this year we've learned that we have something much more important. A community that shows up when its neighbors, friends, and members need it the most. There's nothing we can't overcome when we do it together. And for that, tonight is truly a celebration. Tonight, we celebrate putting women and people of color in the spotlight. The virtual red carpet is rolled out, and hopefully you can envision it flowing into your living room. We will honor 2 incredible women in our community, both powerful and unstoppable in their own unique way. And we are able to celebrate the excellent work of the YWCA and this wonderful event because of our incredible YWCA Boulder Board of Directors, led by our powerful board president, Nancy Rowe. We recognize the countless hours these leadership volunteers have contributed to ensure that the YWCA can continue supporting our community. So when we left you last year, we were really looking forward to our upcoming expansion of our newly named Persimmon Early Learning Center, continuing to bring 5th through 8th grade girls of color together for a 7-week after-school STEM program, and our work at the state capitol to get family leave and greater protections for women facing harassment in the workplace passed. And I felt like we were unstoppable. There was nothing that was going to get between us and our goals to create greater equity, opportunity, and support for the families we serve. Nothing. And then an unprecedented global pandemic hit, and everything seemed to stop for a moment. Over this year, I've often revisited part of our value statement as an organization. The YWCA will not stop until the world sees women, girls, and people of color the way we do: equal, powerful, unstoppable. I want to recognize the YWCA staff, volunteers, the people we serve, the donors, and community partners who have all demonstrated great strength, a powerful perseverance. And together, we were more powerful and unstoppable than any of us could have imagined. The challenges that we faced prior to the pandemic: affordable childcare, economic advancement for women, the health and safety of women and girls and communities of color, and racism, all of them suddenly became bigger, more powerful, more hurtful, more glaring. The She Session was in full swing, hundreds of thousands of women out of work because the majority of caregiving responsibility still falls on the shoulders of women and mothers. And they could not manage a job and taking care of homeschooling children or attending to family. And then the larger percentage of women lost their jobs, many in childcare, education, nursing, and service and care industries. The part of our mission to empower women and girls was and still is front and center. And an awakening for many white people in our country as we watched images of George Floyd dying at the hands of police brutality. This racial injustice was not new, but it amplified the problem for all to see, not just in Black communities who have been fighting unjust systems from the time of enslavement in this country, but what was happening right now. And the other part of our mission to eliminate racism was and still is front and center. And the YWCA community was and is unstoppable. We moved quickly. There was no time to stop. We responded to the community's greatest needs: essential working parents with no options or support for their children. We knew we needed to reopen quickly. Our early child care center was one of the first to reopen at the beginning of May, as teachers stepped back into jobs requiring masks and disinfecting everything and ensuring the safest space for our children, families, and staff. And it was hard and it was scary, but we would not be stopped. And as you will see later tonight, we not only started, but completed an incredible expansion of our child care center: 2 new classrooms, new outdoor learning areas, and updated existing classrooms. It was hard. It seemed impossible some days, but we did it together. Donors who are joining us tonight responded graciously to ensure every child who needed care would receive it. And when families on the front lines making low wages needed childcare, once again, donors, again, many of you joining us tonight, contributed to offset the costs for these families. 70% of the families we're serving right now are families that make 40% less than what is needed to live in Boulder. And you were there for them. Creating greater equity means providing greater opportunities for those in our communities. Racial justice cannot be achieved without it. And we could not disrupt dreams. In partnership with BVSD, the City of Longmont, ZAO, Google, and NIST, we transitioned the entire STEM E3 program online. Young girls of color completed more than 400 hours of coding and were introduced to female mentors in STEM fields to share with them what is possible. These girls are powerful and they are unstoppable. Our racial justice program expanded within days of the outcry from our community for more education, understanding, and opportunities to take action as allies for greater equity. A 3-week anti-racist training program was introduced, and organizations, corporations, and community members embraced the opportunity and completed this important first step. And Reading to End Racism in the schools went from sitting in classrooms with kids to sharing ebooks about empathy and standing up against bullying. And volunteers learned new technology skills to translate their lesson plans to a Google Meets platform. They were and are unstoppable. And a parent RER program was introduced: how to talk to your kids about racism. More than 70 parents have attended this new program to date. And finally, the systems and structures that perpetuate the injustice we fight against were challenged and disrupted through our advocacy this year. The family leave ballot measure passed to provide more support for working parents and caretakers. And in collaboration with local partners like the NAACP, the BVSD School Board heard from 400 plus students, parents, and teachers about the concerns related to equity and support for students of color. Disparities in discipline based on race were exposed, and the racial bullying taking place across the district was shared. The school board responded, and a community equity council has made recommendations with timelines to make school a safe, supportive, and equitable space for all students. You have taken action by donating, participating in events, volunteering, raising awareness, and calling upon our elected officials to make change. Tonight, we move into what we know will be some of our most challenging days to come in working with women, girls, and communities of color. We will all need to take action. You joining us tonight, managing through technology and supporting the YWCA is an action that will make it possible for us to strive for a world free of racism, free of sexism, and a community where all members are treated with respect, dignity, and equal opportunities. So now we are getting ready to enjoy this wonderful night, and I'd really like to acknowledge the incredible volunteers and staff who have transformed this gala to primetime viewing. So thank you to Nancy Rowe, Lisa Lesniak, Gail Dowd, Shan Murphy, Deidre Farrell, and the staff leads Brittany Wilson and Robin Hazlitt. Thank you all and enjoy the show.
Thank you, Debbie, and thank you for leading this organization through a very challenging year. The Janet Beardsley Award of Excellence recognizes the outstanding contributions in the pursuit of women's empowerment and the elimination of racism. Named for the YWCA Boulder County's longtime executive director, Janet Beardsley, who I know is watching tonight, so hello. We are honored to publicly recognize Sue Fagan. Sue is former board chair at the YWCA, and her leadership was instrumental during the last CEO transition. Please join me in watching this
I'm
short
Sue
video.
Fagan. I'm a former board chair with the YWCA. I think the YWCA is the most unstoppable and powerful right now with persimmon early learning and the STEM E3 programs that we have in the community, our racial justice programming that we have.
I think Sue's legacy is one of helping us through a tricky transition that could have caused all kinds of problems elsewhere and didn't happen here, in large part because of her leadership.
I'm most proud of being part of the team that brought on our current CEO, Debbie Pope, and also being part of securing the Catapult grant from Social Venture Partner.
She was my mentor in the first year coming in as a CEO. She was supportive. She invested a lot of time in me and our organization. And what else I love about Sue is her spirit.
Sue is relentless, passionate, and gracious.
Because when she gets excited about something, she puts everything into it. And she's one of those donors that wants to know how she can make the biggest impact, where she can make the biggest impact, and that she gives. So she has helped the YWCA in countless ways.
It's not only important to me, the YWCA's mission, but I want to model that for my daughters. I've always felt like everyone should do their part to make their community stronger. It's quite humbling, and I'm very honored to be receiving this award.
Thank you. I'm so honored. Have a great evening, everyone.
Congratulations again, Sue. We created this next award last year to recognize champions and leaders in the community who demonstrate commitment and action to creating a more equitable, inclusive, and empowering place for all who live in Boulder County. I am pleased to recognize this year's YWCA Community Impact Maker Award to Kathleen Buckholtz. Kathleen is a senior vice president at Zayo Group and has been a champion of the YWCA STEM E3 partnership with her company.
My name is Kathleen Buckholtz. I'm the Senior Vice President of Financial Systems and Integration at Zayo Group. I've been with Zayo for 13 years and I have successfully integrated over 40 acquisitions. Zayo, a leading company in Boulder, choosing to partner with the YWCA is extremely essential to striking the social balance needed to promote equality and empowerment for all whose lives they touch. When you think about STEM, right, it's science, it's technology, it's engineering, and it's math.
When we were doing our STEM E3 program, Zayo hosted it virtually. And Kathleen was there, and she was welcoming these young girls. That passion and that commitment, she really exemplifies that.
Many girls of color, they fall for the cracks. It gives them a motivation. It gives them inspiration. They know that there are people like me out there who's willing to assist them. During the COVID-19, like every country, Dominica also went on lockdown. So I shipped probably 270 fiber drums filled with laptops so that they could continue their education. It's going to take the whole world to come together to help eliminate racism. Gaining recognition and respect from my community, it's quite humbling. I say thank you. Thank you so much. This is such an honor.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
It's so good to be with one person, right? Even if it's just the two of us.
We're distanced, but we're in it, community, we're connected. I love those videos. I mean, what two great examples of women in the community truly taking action. And I know that Kathleen has family from joining in from Dominica and from Zayo Group. And thank you for all of you for choosing to show up and support. We really appreciate that. You know, I don't know about you. I don't want to speak for you, but I'm having a great time tonight. What about you?
I am too. And I have to say, even with a little bit of technical challenges, I think it just wouldn't be this day and age if there wasn't a little bit of that, right?
I know.
It keeps us on our toes.
This is the world, the virtual world. Unless you're like a 10-year-old or 13-year-old,
right.
everybody else has some challenges,
right.
but they're running the world in the virtual space. So it's great to be here. It's great to be with all of you joining us from home. But while we're enjoying this time together, which we are, it is so important to reflect on our shared purpose for coming together. And we are all here because we believe in creating a better future for everyone in our community. Now, Debbie, I know that you shared with us how the YWCA is bringing our community together to address the challenges and find solutions that will strengthen, you know, all of our futures. And I know that you said one of the most challenging issues is affordable quality childcare. Now, last year, the money raised at the Gala made it possible for Persimmon Early Learning of the YWCA to expand beyond emergency drop-in childcare with 2 classrooms for permanent early learning slots. It's amazing.
It is amazing. And we really could not have done it. We all did this. Our community did this together. And we were able to build this together. And so now we're going to take a moment to find out a little bit more about this expansion and other things taking place at the YWCA. Action. We overcome challenges. And there were a lot of challenges in our way this year and barriers, and we had to find solutions. We have been the organization that has been at the front of serving our community with early childcare, with flexible drop-in schedules, with the Reading to End Racism program, with our Latina Achievement Support program, and now with our STEM E3 program that is helping 5th through 8th grade girls of color realize their dreams.
During hard times and situations, it's the time we have to push through and let those girls know that we still care about them. We weren't giving up on them.
Some of the students started out with, let me check out this jam session, to now being, saying, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a coder, I want to work for NASA. And I think that's the goal of this program.
What I would say about this year is we persisted, and we couldn't do it alone. I think the beauty of this year has been seeing how committed our community is to the work that we do and to the people we serve.
We know that childcare is probably one of the most difficult things for working parents right now. The last year has been incredibly challenging because not only did we have a pandemic, we had an expansion project to take care of. I am so absolutely impressed with the staff. They are committed, they're passionate, they've had their own struggles with COVID. They know that at any moment they might be quarantined. They've had to deal with exposure. They have been frontline employees through the past year.
I will tell you, when I first came back after we reopened the doors, to see the children's faces, being back here, playing, and then to see their faces when they saw the new outdoor learning environment for the first time, it was, I can't even describe it. But for everything they've been through, it felt so important for them to have that gift too. We have these wonderful teachers, so committed and passionate. And now we have this incredible facility for them to be able to teach. We were able to provide racial justice training and build out our programming to really address the needs of the community. And I have great pride in the fact that more than 200 community members have gone through a 3-week series of this training and completed it. Our community donors have been incredible. We could not have done what we did this year without them. Why everyone needs to take action is that nobody can do this alone. This is hard work, but it is meaningful and it's needed. At the YWCA, we want the world to see women and girls and people of color the way we do. Equal, powerful, unstoppable.
So this is why we are here tonight. This is why you're here and we're here together. This is truly urgent. And this is the time that we get to come together and support the YWCA. This is when you get to demonstrate your commitment to continuing the incredible programming, like providing opportunities in STEM for girls and youth of color, and our impactful expansion of our early learning that will create an affordable, high-quality option for dozens of families and children in our community. Your gift tonight will ensure that our families who are essential workers and need to go to work every single day, well, that they have a safe place for their children to learn and grow.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about this being a really tough year. I think we've reiterated that several times, and how proud we are of the work that's been done in this community to help support us. And also being able to open Persimmon Early Learning safely was really important. And there's one more thing I want to note that was made possible because of generous donors, and that is that we didn't have to lay off any of our staff or furlough any staff. We were able to keep them fully employed even when the center was shut down. And we just could not have done that without the generous contributions from all of you. So we thank you, but I do need to let you know this gala, this is our largest fundraiser. It's really important. You heard me just talk about all of the things in front of us, right? COVID has created and amplified some of those challenges. So we really are going to be working hard this year, especially. And so in order to do that, this event really helps us be able to fund that. Now, because Debbie,
yes,
we have such an incredible group of donors here tonight, we're going to go big tonight.
Ooh, do share. This is new. I don't know what I don't know what you're going to surprise us with, but I can't wait.
It's always fun when you're auctioning, when you're like, you don't know what we're doing.
It's my favorite part of the night.
But because we've already had so much generosity, right? Yeah. We've already had the $40,000 from the anonymous donor. So we're going to push. I think we can make $120,000 in this next, 10 minutes?
Listen. If I love nothing more than a challenge, I love 120,000 as a number, and I love reaching that in 10 minutes. So I say go for it. I feel like your community of supporters, if anybody, any community can get it done, it's the YWCA community. So this is when you get to get out your phones and you find the personalized giving link from text 56651. There's no need to download an app. You just click the link. And we've made it so simple for you to give. What you're going to do is choose the green Give Live button. This is also the last call for any drawing entries. So grab those too if you haven't already done so. Again, if you need any help, please call or text Michelle from Boulder Events at 678-643-5167. And we've also put that in the chat for you as well. And if you're not registered yet, no problem. Just text YWCA Boulder to 56651 and you can register. Now, if you have a donor advised fund that you want to send the gift from, or you would rather pay by check, we've got you. You can still make the gift tonight through the link and your contribution will be added to the total. That very large total that Debbie Pope just gave of $120,000. And lastly, I do want to remind everybody tonight that your contribution also qualifies for the Colorado Child Care Tax Credit. Now, you all know me. I am not a CPA. I don't even play one on TV. So you do want to check with your tax advisor, but this is huge. It's an additional tax credit that allows you to claim up to 50% of your contribution. Now, when you factor that in, the actual cost of your contribution is so much less. And we're going to show you a slide to illustrate those savings at the different levels. So, good news. It's all good news, right? With the challenge of a $40,000 match, we can easily, and I feel so confident saying this, turn that into $80,000, which just gets us so much closer to our goal of $120,000. So let's see what we can do, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Why don't we start at the $20,000 level? And I don't know if you have anything that you want to share about that level.
Well, $20,000 for the YWCA means so much. So let me give you an example. It would buy an entire full year of care for one infant. So remember the families we were talking about on the front lines. 20,000 supports our family wellness program for 6 months. So that's where we've got a nutrition expert and a wellness expert, and the kids have active play, healthy meals, 3 healthy meals a day. Also, if you're a STEM E3 person and you really enjoy that program, this can actually help fund our 7-week STEM cohort program for up to 40 young girls. Remember, I talked about 400 hours of coding these young girls did through this program, and you heard in the video, right? They do this and they say, I think I might want to work for NASA one day, or I want to work at Google.
Do it. Go for it. Do it.
That is 20,000.
That's awesome.
And it looks like we have got our first 20,000. Alice Messinger, thank you so much. She has been you, Alice, I'm speaking to right now, have been such a wonderful support for the YWCA. So thank you so much for lifting us up tonight and starting at 20.
I love that. I love that $20,000. Thank you, Alice. And if you're someone who feels compelled to match that $20,000, please feel free to do so. I also want to be very clear. You can donate any level at any, or any amount at any level that we're talking about. And I love what you said, because, you know, as if you're a parent who's an essential worker and you do not have a choice,
right?
Being able to remove the stress of wondering, is my child safe? Are they in good hands? Are they being well cared for? Is such a relief.
Absolutely.
So that's wonderful. So thank you to everyone who's giving throughout the night. Well, let's take that $20,000 and let's just, let's shave off a little bit and let's talk about maybe $15,000 and what that could do.
Let's talk about 15. So at 15, that buys enrollment for 2 children in our preschool program to be able to get them ready, right, for kindergarten, which we know is so important. This is the one. I love this. Okay, so this is huge. This will support the resources and books needed to provide the Reading to End Racism program, can make sure that 2,000 children are touched by this program, and that we're able to do the complimentary How to Talk to Your Kids About Racism program. 2,000 kids plus parents. Okay.
That is amazing. And if you take advantage of the child care tax credit,
That's right.
really it's only about $4,500, right?
That's absolutely
So
right.
that's great. And I love that you have this comprehensive program, because it's one thing, yes, it's important for the children to have access to books, but you have to make it a family endeavor, right? You
do.
have to get parents involved so that everybody feels confident and comfortable communicating.
That's right.
So that's great. So if you're sitting at home and this speaks to you, and you choose to give it the $15,000 level, please go ahead and do so now. And while you're donating, we're going to keep going, because it's getting exciting. And let's take that, and we'll divide that 20,000 in half and talk about $10,000.
Okay, here we go. So 10,000. So this will actually cover our STEM E3 7-week coding cohort program for 10 girls, right? So now we can impact 10 girls, right? The future engineers, the future scientists, all girls of color. So at the $10,000 level, that's what we are able to do. So let's see who's ready to help out these wonderful, wonderful girls that you heard more about during the program.
I love that. So if you're sitting at home and $10,000 speaks to you, feel free to click that green button and donate at the $10,000 level. Very exciting. And I think that $10,000 gift, if you take advantage of the tax credit, is really only about $3,300 or so. I think.
$3,000.
Oh, $3,000. See, I did not take those important STEM classes, math classes. So this is why it's so important. So
all right.
thank you.
Well, Allison Bartow and Todd, thank you so much coming in at the $10,000 level. Allison, I know how much the STEM program means to you. She's one of our incredible women scientists. And Mark Bozick and Deb Parks, thank you so much. They have been the most, you saw them in the video, because they actually made sure that our families, all of their children, had presents, and that they had a dinner for the holidays. So I am not surprised to see that name pop up, but we thank you so very much. So where are we at? Let's see.
I can do this math. I can do this math. We've hit our match. Right?
Oh my gosh, we hit our match.
Because we had the $40,000 match, that generous anonymous, and we had Alice come in, Alice Messinger at $20,000, and then we had two generous gifts at $10,000 apiece. So my math is good enough to know that we hit that match, and we're not stopping, right? We're going to keep going. So we're going to take that $10,000 level, and we're going to divide that in half and talk about $5,000. And what could $5,000 do? Okay, so $5,000 provides safe, nurturing, and consistent childcare for 3 months for a family. $5,000, and then with the tax credit, yes, $1,500. $1,500. So that's math everybody can get behind. And we do thank you so much, Betty Fagan, for coming in at the $5,000 level. Thank you for your generosity. Very, very exciting right there. So we've just, I think, right, we've matched our $40,000. We have another $5,000. And I see that there are gifts coming in at different levels. So let's maybe just for a moment talk about $2,500. Okay, so $2,500 can provide parenting classes for 20 parents. And as a parent myself, I will say these classes really do help, because there is no handbook that comes with this, and especially during these times. So it makes it possible for us to be able to provide that programming for parents that's so needed as well. I love that. So $2,500, I do want to get to the $2,500, but I do want to just thank Nancy Rowe for coming in at $5,000. We want to thank Sue Schwepp for coming in at $5,000. And then we have a really wonderful and generous 15,000, 5,000. Look at me. See, I didn't take the STEM classes. So I'm like, let me add a 1 in front of that 5. I'm glad someone's keeping me honest. That's right. Thank you so much. Renelle Randalls. And Renelle is one of our SVP partners. Thank you so much, Renelle. And then Betty Fagan is Sue Fagan's mom, I believe. So actually, she had mother-in-law, I think. We've got a mother-in-law. She worked at the YWCA, actually. Before too. I love that. So right now at the $5,000, we have raised another $20,000. Okay. So, and we're not stopping anytime soon, right? And we are not, and neither are you. Randy, clap, $10,000. Randy, thank you so much. You and James are amazing.
We
That's
so appreciate
exciting.
everything you've done as donors for the YWCA. So thank you for keeping that going. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Well, right now,
Mark?
I think everybody can see. We were going to try and do this like birthday cake, jump out of the cake, make this announcement. So we're really
Right.
sorry we had it planned.
I know, but there's one more. Janet Eden Harris at $5,000. Janet, thank you. Janet was board chair for the YWCA. Actually, Sue and Nan Jostin and Janet really worked together during that time. Thank you so much.
So as everyone can see, we are right. I think it was about $135,000, $136,000,
$140,000,
280,000. I mean, I'll just keep pulling numbers out of the air until we get it.
$135,800.
Okay. So I just want to say, not that you're a bad judge of money, Debbie Pope, but I think you set the bar a little bit low. Your community is just coming in as they always do and showing up. Thank you to Amy Carpenter, who came in at the $2,500 level.
Thank you, Amy.
So thank you so much. Well, let's chat about $1,000 because I know we probably have quite a few people who really feel comfortable financially and emotionally committed to the $1,000 level. What could that do for the YWCA?
Okay, so our Latina Achievement Support Program, this really provides culturally responsive mentoring. It's through high school. And last year, even during COVID, 100% of the young women who went through the Latina Achievement Support Program went on to post-secondary, which is amazing. And I know it's because of our incredible advocates who really worked with them and tutored them and helped their families and them through all of that. Wow. $1,000. Think of the difference that's making for our community and think of our future with these incredible women. So, oh my gosh. So here we go. We have got some wonderful donors. We have Eric Warner, Shan Murphy, who of course is on the board, was on the committee, helped make this happen. Hannah, thank you so much. And Catherine, so thank you. Andrea, Ashley, fantastic. Barbara Springer.
And your community, as always, shows up. So right there, we've raised $7,000 at the $1,000 level. And I wonder if we have 3 more people at the $1,000 level who could get us to another 10,000.
All right.
See, so maybe we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. If we have 3 more people at the $1,000 level, that would be really exciting to hit 10,000 at that level. But let's talk about $500, right? That's still such a meaningful amount.
Absolutely. So that provides a safe, nurturing, and consistent child care for one family for 3 months. So that is, gosh, that has helped so much. A lot of our families would not have been able to, I don't really know what their option would have been, honestly, Debbie, without the support of donors who helped to offset those costs. So I'm so glad to see we have some wonderful donors. Oh my goodness. Okay. And our eyes, we were just talking about this, right? We're trying to read this and make sure, but gosh, thank you so much to Larry, to Janice Shively, whose daughter, I believe that's her daughter who's on our board, her daughter. Wendy Underhill has been a wonderful supporter of ours. Thank you. Ellen Burns, gosh, Ellen, thank you so much. I hope you and Deb are watching tonight. We so appreciate it. And Claire Clearman has been working with SVP. She is just such an incredible leader in our community and been such an incredible supporter. Gosh, we have Jennifer and Matt and Gail Dowd from our committee. Thank you. Thank you. John Pitlick. John Pitlick has been giving Debbie for several years to support the scholarship program for Persimmon Early Learning. So thank you so much, John, for making another just generous gift.
And it's exciting because not that I want to have a competition here between the 500 and the 1,000, but right now we're at $6,500 in that 500 category. So we just need a few people to come in at 500, and that could push us to $10,000 in the $500. And just a reminder, $500, if you take advantage of the tax credit, your net cost of giving is really $151.
Fantastic. Cassandra Stewart, thank you. I think this is Cassie, who was with Twitter, and she was a wonderful team captain for us. Thank you so very much. Vicky and her family, Vicky works with the YWCA, and her family's been such a wonderful support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay.
So, I love this. Can I do?
Yes, you do it.
can too. I don't
That's
want to. I
okay.
don't want to take. We'll do it. It'll be a joint collaborative effort right
Okay.
here. So we want to let everybody know we actually only have 2 more levels of giving. We have $250 and we have $100. But what's really important, very exciting, and kind of very, very exciting is we are at $144,000 right now. So I don't know. Community, do we think we can get to 150,000, 6,000 more dollars divided between all the levels, the $250 level and the $100 level?
Yep.
I feel like we can do it.
I
feel like we can do it.
Get there too.
So maybe you could share a little bit, just combine, like,
Yeah.
what could $250 do? What could $100 do for your organization? It can go so far.
It really
when
can.
we all join in.
Absolutely. And I think especially during these times, we know how important it is, especially for the children attending our center, how important it is for them to have nutritious meals. And in some cases, those 3 meals a day might be the extent of what they're able to get. So it provides 100 hot, nutritious meals for children at Persimmon Early Learning. And the thing about this is with the credit, how much is it? $75.
I know.
$75.
Right.
Okay. So we have some wonderful donors. Thank you so much coming to the Sheila King. Sheila was on our committee last year for the gala. We're just refreshing right now.
Refreshing, but what's refreshing is we have $146,000. That's where we're
amazing.
at. So we only need $4,000 more dollars to get this new goal
That's
of
right.
150,000.
Okay.
Which
And I
would
think
be
it's just
amazing.
because so many of you are donating, it jammed up the system.
This is a
which
great
good
problem to have. It's like I always tell people, if a paddle raise is going long, that
Yeah,
means that a lot of
good
people are being really incredibly generous, which the YWCA community always is. Always is.
Absolutely.
So we're going to get a little update on where we're at right now. But if you're sitting at home and you're maybe thinking, you know what, Debbie, you did not call out the number that I wanted to give, and maybe it was 75,000 or maybe it was $25.
Right.
Go ahead and donate that right now. We are at $147,000. We are so close to our goal. We are just shy of $3,000 to our goal. So how many people do we have out there? I wonder, I'm going to ask, do we have a count for how many people are joining us? I know it might be tricky. We have some people who are coming in on Zoom and some people who are joining us from YouTube. We're grateful for all of you, but I'm wondering if we know roughly, and then maybe we could back into the math that way.
That's a
right?
great.
Did you take STEM classes? Because that's all I have. I mean,
I
can only go so far.
We are so grateful to partner with people like Zayo who have that skill.
Wow. So we have 100
Oh my gosh.
joining us on Zoom and about
Fantastic.
100. We don't know. YouTube, it could be 1 million.
Right.
I don't know how many people are on YouTube.
It's global. It's gone international.
You're going global. That's so exciting. Okay, so let's take 100 people, plus we have more people on YouTube.
Right.
We need about $3,000, right, to
Right.
get to that $150,000. We could have someone show up at 3,000. We could have 3 people show up at 1,000. We could have a few more people show up at, at 500. So let's get another count and then we'll move on. But just know that you can continue donating throughout the rest of the evening.
That's great.
Right?
And honestly, even past this evening, right? This is something that doesn't, we're so close, that doesn't stop. Okay, so here's the number.
Yep.
$148,855, which is about 1,200. 12 donors at $100.
But what we could do, what if we do this? What if we move on and all come back in and
Okay.
check on things in a little bit?
That sounds great.
That could be something we do. And the YWCA is always impressive. You all always show up. It's a beautiful thing to see.
We just hit it. 150,000. And we have our wonderful VP of Development, Brittany Wilson, is like doing jumping jacks.
And we heard some really great cheers in the other room. So that is such a good sound to hear. And thank you to community. This was all you. This was all you showing up, being dedicated, committed to what your organization does. And the night's not done. Right?
Not done.
So I do want to remind you that this is your final reminder to purchase your entry to win a $750 gift card to Walters and Hogsett Jewelers in Boulder. So look for package number 200. We're going to be closing the sales in just a few moments. So thank you. I am going to check in though in a little bit. So keep donating if you feel so moved. And now a word from our presenting sponsor, Zayo Group.
At Zayo, our fiber fuels global innovation. Everything we do, everything we can imagine. Never in history has innovation happened at such a rapid pace. And all of it depends on bandwidth connectivity. Millions of miles of Zayo's fiber span the globe, traveling unique routes, providing dense metro footprints, offering next-generation solutions. We didn't just see the future of fiber, we built it. We delivered it. Every millisecond, our fiber is fueling crucial operations, breakthroughs, and innovations for the world's most impactful companies. Companies that are disrupting the status quo, igniting imaginations, revolutionizing industries, and creating brand new ones. Our customers are advancing wireless communication, transforming healthcare, changing education, revolutionizing transportation, redefining banking, powering retail, and upping the game in esports. These innovators rely on Zayo's fast, secure fiber networks to connect their offices, factories, data centers, clouds, exchanges, venues, and more, ultimately fueling innovation and transforming lives. And behind those fiber connections, Zayo is all about human connections. We take ownership in all we do. Our employees take the initiative to deliver trusted solutions to every customer and make their experience effortless. We are energetic and entrepreneurial, a partner to rely on. We are Zayo. We are working with our customers on what comes next, constantly anticipating what can be. We are fueling global innovation that is changing the world.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Gosh, we'll take our masks off just for this section. I love your mask, by the way, Marta.
Thank
We've been
you.
comparing masks. This is what happens.
Glamour, glitter,
That's
yes.
right, glamour,
beautiful.
glitter during COVID. And I'm so grateful you're here. You are a busy woman. Talk about powerful and unstoppable. Marta Locheman was elected to the Board of Boulder County Commissioners this year, 2020,
in November, yes.
with a term continuing through January of 2025. You're representing District 2.
Yes.
Marta's a longtime Longmont resident who's worked for social, economic, and housing justice by building opportunities for families throughout Boulder County and the Front Range. And prior to her serving on the Board of County Commissioners, Marta facilitated a project with Community Foundation Boulder County that highlights the opportunity for cultural brokers to influence decision-making in our county. Additionally, her work with the City of Longmont after the 2013 flood established the Resiliency for All project for the State of Colorado Division of Local Affairs. And that's not it, folks. She has taught youth in South America and in our own St. Vrain Valley School District, and is a licensed realtor who has successfully helped hundreds of first-time homebuyer families access home ownership along the Front Range during her 20-year career as a housing advocate. And the list goes on and on, Marta.
Thank you, Debbie.
So as you can see, busy, and we really appreciate you being here. But we want to have a discussion tonight. There's a lot going on in our community, in our state, in our country. And so we're going to talk about some of these issues. And I want to get your perspective. And I think it's really important for our audience to get your perspective too. So what do you feel during, especially with everything we just talked about taking place from the pandemic, what do you feel is going to be most needed in terms of support for women and communities of color here in Boulder County?
Thank you for that question. And I've thought about it a lot, actually. And there's really two groups that we're talking about here. We're talking about women, and I believe a lot of women in our community and around this country and truly in the world would say, believe me. Just start by believing me what I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
And when we look at the fight that women have had around equity, from a pay equity, from just believe me that I'm doing the same work as our counterparts and pay me the same. I mean, it's these very simple, and yet we're not there yet, even in the United States. And for women of color and people of color, I believe it's very similar. Believe me when I tell you how hurtful and how divisive and how complicated it is to live in a country that is founded in white supremacy, to live in a community and to live in a structure, whether it's our school system, whether it's our organizations, and truly whether it's our local governments. And so that to me that's where we start.
Yeah, thank you so much. And when you talk about these things, I just want to expound on that. So
Absolutely.
we need to be listening is what I'm hearing from you. We need to listen, and then we need to believe what we're hearing and seeing. And that, it is not okay that we have a pay wage gap. And we know that for women of color, it's so much significantly higher. I think the last statistic I saw is it will take about 100 years for women of color to actually be paid the same amount as their counterpart male doing the same job.
Right. And I think what you just said is so important, that listening, right? I mean, it's part of that. Instead, there is a real habit, of just when somebody comes in, here's what's happening for me, here's my experience. And a lot of folks tend to say, oh no, let me tell you about mine. Let me tell you about what happened to me, and that's not listening. Right. And some of it comes from a place of defense. Some of it comes from a place of reaction, because we don't want to necessarily be called out. We don't want to feel like the bad person. And certainly for a lot of white people, don't want to be considered racist. And yet, if we're not listeners and we're not having these really important dialogues, and this event tonight is it's inspiring that there are so many people that really want to do this work. And so how can we help?
I totally agree. And I think taking action. So all of you here tonight is like taking the step in, right? There's so much more to do. But I think, thank you for really, it is inspiring to see so many in our community who do really want to make a difference. They believe in equity. They believe in an equitable space for women of color, for communities of color. And we know, we've talked a lot about, because we work with such incredible women and incredible girls at the YWCA. So we already know these individuals are powerful, unstoppable, but let's just imagine what the world or what our community would look like if it was truly equal for everyone. Like, how would you walk through your day differently? What would it look like?
Yeah, I think that's an important question. And part of it, I really believe there are a lot of people in our communities that are so rooted in fear about what an equitable community would look like. And there's a lot of other folks who feel like that they need to know what that's going to look like. They need to know what that's going to feel like. And the reality is we have never lived in an equitable Boulder County. We have never lived in an equitable country. And not in an equitable world. And so to be able to get to that point of, okay, what would that feel like? What would that really look like? And there's so many different examples that we talk about some of your programming and some of the girls, the fact that we're still fighting so hard to get women into STEM programming, into opportunities. There's this whole chain of events that have to occur to get us to a real equitable place. So what does that look like? It means like the STEM program you were talking about with young women, to get them in early in elementary and middle school. But that also means that we have to have the systems ready and prepared to welcome those women, because currently one of my kiddos is a mechanical engineer. He's finishing up this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
As a
Yes.
parent, that's a big deal.
It's huge. And for him as a son of immigrants, it's a fantastic piece of our lives. But he talks about that too, like the really small portion of women, young women who have made it through this far. And so it's getting our kids introduced, supporting them. But what does support look like for people of color? It looks different for us than it looks for our counterparts. And so, and that chain of then what are the hiring policies? Who are the companies that are going out intentionally? And where are the implicit biases that affect those processes? And if I can get a kiddo through the YWCA program to a college, to a career. And then what does that really feel like for the 1 or 2 people of color in an engineering firm, as an example? I can tell you it's isolating, it's lonely, it's difficult. And so those are all the different places that will feel different when we're in an equitable place.
Well, and I think what I want to lift up is that part of our STEM program is really about making sure that these young girls can see women of color and see themselves in that and aspire to that. And I think that was so important what you said, like it needs to look different.
Yes.
You need to be able to see the possibility. And then also now you have a mentor, you have support. You have someone saying to you, I know I've been through this, and here I am, and it's hard, but now you have more support, right?
And that you're inadvertently talking about representation and why that's so important. And I think it's part of what you all do in your work is how do we truly create representation in all facets and leadership and ownership of business and companies? How do we lift those voices up? Because the reality is, even in Boulder County, our Latino community, our Latinx community is thriving. And that's not what we hear in this country. That is not what we see in the media. Those are not the stories that get highlighted and busted out. And the reality is that we have significant success stories in philanthropy, in business, in ownership, and so those are the stories that our kiddos need to see and hear and connect with.
Yeah, and probably for our whole community, because we know we have a lot of community members that, are not connecting into more diverse friends, communities. And so what they see or what they know is sort of what they see.
And
so that's why it's so important that they're seeing the reality of the incredible community and these young people, right? And those that are really thriving.
And when you mentioned a little piece of my background, which is teaching, I have a master's in secondary ed. And so one of, what I taught English and Spanish, and I taught intro Spanish throughout St. Vrain and in several different buildings. And I used to tell my my English speaking, Spanish learning families and students, you don't have to take your kids to Mexico or Cuba or for a vacation. That's not what my class is about. My class is about making sure that your student learns this language so that they can support their own community. And truly in Boulder County, you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to travel overseas, and you shouldn't be right now because of COVID anyway. There's all these opportunities, and YWCA is another one of a great opportunity to just get involved with our own communities, and you'll still get a really rich cultural experience.
Absolutely. Thank you that's such a good reminder for all of us. So it's right here. You don't have to buy
We're here.
an expensive, expensive ticket somewhere. And you brought up being a teacher as well. And we have talked a little bit about the experience for students of color in this community, in the school district. My children are biracial, definitely have experienced it. And I think there's this sort of sense in our community, like we don't want to acknowledge that it's happening because it makes us feel bad, but it is happening, right? And so how does that feel for students of color when we're not acknowledging this?
Right, and I think that's part of that piece, and I heard you talking about it a little bit in the program previously of how do we normalize this conversation about race? How do you and I meet and come to a point where we can have a conversation? How do we model that for our children? How do we model that for our community? And there are faith groups reaching out. There are different community organizations who are really right now based on some of these horrible racial violent attacks on communities of color around this country over the last year that have just been highlighted that are giving folks the opportunity. And so I think that's what we're going to talk a little bit more about is the action.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get there. We have just a little bit of time.
Yes.
So let's talk about action. What does that look like?
And I think some of the pieces that you talked about tonight, some of the programming that you all are doing to try and encourage people to do something. I think the key is for white people in our community to check in and just, am I being active? Is this passive what I'm doing right now, or is it truly active? And that might be checking in, like, what is the language that I'm using when I'm talking about people of color? And if I'm not even able to have that conversation yet, that's okay. check back in and what can I do? How can I learn? What does that look like? And I know there's all kinds of community conversations. I know there's book reads, things like that. And I'm also encouraging folks to let's move forward. And exactly what you're talking about. So how do I check in and find out, am I moving someone else forward? Or am I speaking for my good friend who's a person of color or my neighbor who's a person of color? There's other ways for us to really challenge ourselves. And some of that is just challenging our own conversations to make sure that we're talking about folks with an asset lens.
That's right. So if you're feeling a little uncomfortable, that's probably a sign of growth. And we have to
And you
all be able
should.
to step into that.
Absolutely. We have to be open to that. And so I really appreciate you inviting me this evening. Congratulations on a fantastic program and a fantastic evening. These conversations are important.
Thank you so much for showing up and being so powerful and unstoppable as our first commissioner, woman of color. So many more, right?
Yes.
Just blazing the way.
First, not the last, but truly I need to also acknowledge the folks who have ran for office in Boulder County ahead of me that even started to pave that road.
Right.
Thank
Marta,
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Debbie and Marta, for that really insightful conversation. I know you've inspired me, and I know you've inspired a lot of people watching tonight. So we want to give everyone one last chance to give. We all showed up tonight because we believe in the YWCA's mission. But now that we've heard about the unstoppable work they're doing and who it is affecting in our community, it's time to take action to support this incredible work. Now, I do want to thank somebody who has been giving a little bit throughout the evening. And Daniel, we know you're watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You've been giving in small amounts. And what we know is that small amounts add up to a huge impact. So thank you for your generosity, Daniel. If you've already given and you feel compelled to give again, if you're watching, you can do that too. Simply click the link from 56651 and click the paddle raiser item. If you need help, again, call or text Michelle from Boulder Events at 678-643-5167. And if you're not registered yet, text YWCA Boulder to 56651 and you can register. And don't forget that Colorado Child Care Tax Credit that we mentioned earlier, that Debbie and I were talking about earlier. The actual cost of your gift is so much less, and you can pay for your gift any way you want. You can send a check after if you don't want to pay by credit card tonight. It's really completely, totally 100% up to you. So if you feel compelled to give, please go ahead and do so now. And it is time to find out our lucky winner for tonight's $750 gift certificate to Walters and Hogsett Jewelers in Boulder. Now, you do need to be present to win, so we're looking for a confirmation in the chat box. If this is your name, let us know. And I'm actually getting an envelope handed to me. This feels like, what is that, the Academy Awards, all the awards? Okay, and the winner of the $750 gift certificate to Walters and Hogsett is Jill Zender. Jill Zender. So Jill, if you are watching, let us know in the chat and Wow, happy shopping to you. That's pretty exciting. So we are so thankful for all of you taking the time out of your evening, being patient with us, being so generous, and joining us in support of the YWCA Boulder County. We had probably over 400 people watching tonight in households all across the country, and some even outside of the United States. And thanks to you, we were able to collectively raise $153,885, which you all know me, and I'm not one to just, this is a lovely number, but this is such a just teetering on the edge of 154,000. So if there's anybody out there who feels compelled, what is that, $145? That's $145 to push us to that glorious number of $154,000. I'm going to challenge you to do that right now. But I won't make you wait here that long. That was an awkward, like, we will go on. We will go on. But if that speaks to you, go ahead and donate that amount right now. So we're not going to stop here. We've given generously tonight, but now is the time to take action. And we know it's going to take each and every one of us if we're going to eliminate racism and if we're going to empower women nationwide. So we'd like each of you to make a pledge this evening on how you are going to take action. And we want you to share that pledge and what that action is on social media using hashtag YWCA Gala at Home. So for more ideas on what you can do, visit the event website, which is www.ywcaboulder.org/Gala 2021 info. We'll put that in the chat. Now, thank you again for all of your generosity you showed us this evening. And thank you to whomever showed up and turned out to get us that extra $145 because we have reached $154,000. And it's because of you. You are the community of the YWCA. So we certainly hope to see you in person next year. But if not, we'll see you right back here.
We need everyone to take action. A community is about everyone contributing.
First, have the mindset that you are going to be committed to do something.
And how people can take action, I think it's about starting with what you feel most passionately about. What is the problem you feel we need to solve?
Do research.
How do you get involved in it? What support do they need?
Do you have connections?
Educating yourself.
It may be by building awareness.
Just get involved.
We can make that change by being the change.
And for some, that may feel like it's a smaller contribution, and for others, they're going to be pouring lots of time and money into something. But we all need to be invested in the solutions for our community.
I am action. So, I mean, that's all I'm going to say is that I am action.